I don't really know where else to post this, so I'll post this here. Be me, 17. Gonna stay with my uncle, who owns a ranch in Idaho for the winter. Parents are older, and had to be in their late 40s, so my uncle, Dad's big brother, is close to 60, and more like a grandpa than anything. He's been married and divorced twice, and has been living alone for almost my whole life. I live in Mesa, Arizona, so the drive was fucking grueling. My uncle picked me up in October last year. He's super tall, and a big ass dude with a massive beard. He's pretty chill, but really rough looking. His ranch is in the middle of nowhere, with no neighbors for miles. When I got there, it was kind of exactly what I thought it would be. Super old school, run down looking. Driving in, I noticed he had a long line of rocks lining the end of his property that were all painted white. I asked him about them, and he told me he would tell me in a minute. As soon as we got in the house, he told me there are rules when staying with him, and if I broke them, he would have no problem driving me all the way home. Said I couldn't go out any time after the sundown without him, under any circumstance. At night, I need to have my curtains drawn, and all the lights off, and that if I needed a light, I had to use a candle that he kept next to the bed. Then he took me outside and pointed out at the white rocks. He said that the rocks went around the entire property, and have been there even before he lived there. Told me to never ever go over the rocks, or go anywhere far from the house without him. I was kinda spooked, and asked why, but all he said was that there's always coyotes and they would kill me. First night was fine, except for the shitty bed. Next day he asked if I wanted to have fun, and took me out back to shoot. A few weeks go by fine, just hanging out, having bonfires, shooting, and helping him on the property. End up getting into pretty decent shape helping him. Then, in the middle of November, we woke up to find a dead deer in the yard. My uncle flips his shit, grabs me, puts me in the house, and starts to lock the doors and windows up. Tells me to grab my shit and keep it near the door. Ask him what the fuck is up. He doesn't tell me. Has me sleep in the living room on the pull-out couch while he sleeps in his chair. Next few days, it feels like he's a different person, super paranoid and on edge. End up sleeping in the living room for a week, till he chills and all is calm again. Thanksgiving comes around, and he cooks up a turkey he had frozen, and a bunch of other shit. We stuff ourselves, and even lets me have a few beers. We're chilling by the fire, talking about the time he got into a fight with a guy over his ex-wife, while listening to his old records, when a shit ton of loud noises come out of nowhere. We both shoot up. He runs for the door. I follow after him, and end up running full speed into the back of him, falling over. He had stopped at the door, and started locking the locks. I thought he was running outside, so I ran full speed. He tells me to grab his shotgun. I'm freaked out at this point, because my massive badass of an uncle is freaking out. Loud ass sounds outside like barking, yelling, and something hitting a metal trash can all mixed. Then the window breaks. A massive rock was thrown through it. It was one of the painted white rocks. I'm freaking out now. My uncle shoots the window. My ears are ringing and I'm crying out at this point. He yells to grab the table and put it against the window. I put it against the window while he runs to his room. He comes back with his rifle and hands it to me. Tells me if I see anything, to not hesitate and shoot it. I ask him if we should call the cops, but he tells me they wouldn't be able to get to us for a few hours. All night, we sit in the living room, listening to whatever this thing is destroy the porch pound. As soon as the sun starts to come up, my uncle goes to the door and starts to unlock it. I start to freak out, like, what the fuck are you doing? They're still there. He rips the door open and there's nothing there. I'm absolutely shitting my pants thinking of all the stories I've read about monsters, skinwalkers, and other shit. The door is absolutely fucked. Super scratched up, chunks missing. The porch has pieces missing, and his truck has all the windows smashed and tires shredded, like a bomb went off. My uncle looks around and sighs. I ask him, what the fuck was that? He looks at me and tells me there's a gang that comes around and does this kind of stuff to people's houses. Gang? Why are you lying to me? He tells me to shut the fuck up and relax. I don't believe him, and I can see he's kicking himself for telling me such a shitty lie. I go to take a picture of the door and outside, and he grabs my phone and says no. I say, what the fuck? And he tells me if my mother saw what happened, she would rip his balls off. He tells me to relax and it's okay. We clean up the porch, and he has me help him replace his tires with a few old ones from the shed. We limp the truck back to town for him to get replacement tires and ask about the windows. Everyone in town is staring at us hard, like we drove into town with a clown car. It's a small town with a cafe/diner, a gas station and mechanic, a general store, and a motel. Everyone knows each other for the most part. The gas station clerk comes out, starts to talk to my uncle, The clerk and my uncle are talking quietly, and I can see the clerk is upset. I overhear him say, "Well, what'd you expect? It's getting worse, man." Okay, what the fuck? He takes me back to the house and tells me that the gang he was talking about was real, but they're more like vandals and tweakers. Still don't believe him, but act like I do. That night, my uncle was surprisingly calm and told me they wouldn't come back 2 nights in a row. The night was calm except for this weird electric feeling in the air, like the whole place would blow up if the littlest thing happened. I woke up really late to my uncle snoring in his chair. I had to piss super bad. The fire had died out, so I used my phone light to make my way to the bathroom. The bathroom is super small, with a tiny window at the top of the back wall behind the toilet. I get to the bathroom and turn the light on to piss. While I'm pissing, I start hearing this weird noise, like the tiniest scratching sound. I quickly realize it's coming from the window. Then it turns into tapping. I'm so terrified, I'm just frozen there. If I wasn't already pissing, I would be pissing my pants. Then I realized that I fucked up. I turned the light on when I'm supposed to be using a candle. I'm shaking. Then the window breaks and glass hits me. Screaming, I back out of the room, pissing all over my legs and pants. I didn't even look at the window. I just ran down the hall, trying to pull my pants up. My uncle runs around the corner and grabs me. He sees what happened. Well, I try to yell what happened. He sees the light on and runs to shut it off. He yells, "I thought I made it clear about the lights at night." I'm crying, digging through my duffel bag, looking for new pants. The next day we leave, and he drives me home, saying I would be safer at home. Told me not to ever tell my parents because they would freak out. He stayed at the house with us for a few days, and eventually we both chilled out again. I turned 18 this February, and recently bought my first handgun, and want to eventually go back and see if he'll let me take pictures or set up a camera. I don't know what to think since he won't tell me anything about what happened. It's not like the stories where you hear talking or whispering. It was just violent. Whatever it does, anyone know anything this could have been? Before I start this story off, I'll just tell you that even after what's happened, I plan on going to tech school for being a park ranger, just not in Wisconsin. Be me 2 years ago, 16. Live in actual middle of Wisconsin. The whole state is basically one big forest. I prefer being alone or with maybe one other friend. The forests are perfect for getting away from everything. Never had any bad experiences, love the outdoors, etc. My dad buys a place in the far north in a very small town, Phillips, Wisconsin, if anyone's ever been there. Used it as a vacation home. Pretty rundown place, but we decided we could fix it up. Mid-June, just out of sophomore year of high school, brother and I decided to take a trip out to the place up north. The place is at least a 4-hour drive from where I live. And when I said it was in Phillips, I mean that's the closest town. Eventually get there. Driveway is about half a mile long dirt trail through the forest. Only second time ever going there. First time, I stayed for a whole half day, then left, so I'm pretty clueless about it. Dad gives zero shits that we go alone. Go there and it's the same shitty building. Garage is collapsing on itself, so we park outside. Pretty large open area with forest on every side of us. Dad has a boat up there. Small river runs through the land, so me and my brother go fishing and stuff. Have a generally good time for the day. When it gets dark, we light a fire and drink. Typical teenage bullshit. By midnight, we're too drunk to notice anything unusual. Eventually, pass out inside. Let's just call my brother Fuckstick from now on. Fuckstick's outside, muttering to himself. Go outside feeling like shit from the night before. See what he's looking at. Deer carcass, torn apart at the head of the dirt driveway. Actually, a lot more common in Wisconsin than you'd think. Write it off as maybe a bear, considering my dad has pictures of bears walking around near the house. We spend maybe 5 minutes moving the deer off the driveway. Probably the worst thing I've ever had to smell. After that, me and Fuckstick ate some breakfast and headed into town. Maybe a 10-minute drive from the shit cottage. We got us some booze using this fake ID, then we headed to the general store. Phillips has about 1,500 residents, so everyone knows everything that happens. Why it didn't surprise me that the store owner knew we were the people who bought the shit cottage. The whole exchange between the shop owners seemed off to me. It was just one of those gut feelings. Told us about our neighbor, some Native American who rarely left his cabin, maybe a mile from our place. Bought our shit after that, and hightailed it back to the cottage. It was about noon at this point. Sat around the cottage. Lazy day. I have shitty hearing, but luckily Fuckstick heard a truck pulling up outside. We both go out, wondering who the hell it could be. Truck's engine stops. The thing's covered in rust. The door opens, and the first thing I see is a pair of cowboy boots hit the ground. It's the old Native American man. Shitfuck.jpg. hoping to God it's not the neighbor. He introduces himself as our neighbor, just had a generally bad feeling about him. He says he decided to stop by, hearing quite a bit of noise from here last night. Me and Fuckstick were pretty quiet from what I could remember, so I had no clue what he heard. Though it could have been the bear, so I mentioned the deer we found. Bad idea. We walked over to the side of the driveway where we threw all the bits of deer. Indian dude told us the deer wasn't missing much. It was just in pieces. Said that bears usually don't just kill things like that. Started to get a bad feeling about the whole place. That's probably when me and Fuckstick should have bailed. Indian dude told us he would stop by later on with a gift. I didn't care too much. I mean, he seemed alright. Plus, I've always wanted to drive with a Native American. Guy leaves. Truck is overly loud. Rest of the day goes normally. We went fishing on the river again and started up the fire when it got dark. Sitting around the fire, it was maybe 10. Me and Fuckstick are drinking up a storm again, buzzed but not too drunk. Waiting for the Indian guy to show up. See headlights coming up the driveway. Same loud-ass truck as before. Same cowboy boots as before. Same Indian guy as before. He's holding something. Looks like a small bundle of something. Walk toward me and Fuckstick. Can see what he's clearly holding with the firelight. It's bones. Human bones, actually. Sits down next to me, smiling. Buzzing, so I'm not super fazed by this. Ask him outright about the bones. Goes on about some Native American mumbo jumbo. Keyword I got from him was Wendigo. My B-movie senses tingle. Almost feel like I'm kicked into sobriety. He tells us to bury the bones in our yard before midnight. Doesn't specify why though. Me and Fuckstick both know extensively about Wendigos, thanks to movies and stories. He tells us not to leave either. We didn't question that at this point. He gets up, nodding to the both of us, seeing he's left the bundle there. He gets in his truck and leaves. What the fuck were we supposed to do? We took the bones and did what he said. Buried them right in front of the house and went straight inside, locking the doors. Pretty sleepless night. Me and Fuckstick just stayed talking about what could happen, horrible ways to die, etc. I left Fuckstick alone for a moment to go to the bathroom. Came back and he was passed out. Didn't bother waking him up, but I'm sure as hell wasn't going to bed now. Played solitaire for a while. Around 2 in the morning, heard something outside. Sounded like a horse galloping, but slower in pace. Didn't want to look outside, but I did anyways. See a deer running across the tree line about 10 yards away. Watched it run. It looked like it tripped or something pulled it down. There was nothing else near it though, from what I could see. The deer just sat there. It looked like it was in pain, but it wasn't making a sound. Here's some sort of screeching. I've gone hunting before, and I've heard a deer yelp before. This was definitely not that. I see something crawl up on top of the deer. It's smaller than me. I couldn't get much of a good look at it yet, but I could tell it was small, maybe 4 feet tall. Saw it doing something to the deer. Couldn't make out exactly what. Remember, there's binoculars here. Not sure if I really want to use them. But going against myself like I always do, I went ahead and got them. Looked through. The thing was still on the deer. The deer was long dead. Its back was clawed up, and head was torn clean off. Then I got a good look at the thing. It had no hair of any kind, just pink, fleshy skin. It was just smearing a deer's flesh against its face. Could actually make out eyes now. It took a bit to get adjusted to the darkness. No mouth. It might sound stupid, but I almost felt bad for it. Though, if this was a Wendigo, it makes sense that it can't eat. I might sound mellow retelling the story, but at the time, I was absolutely shitting myself. Decide to wake Fuckstick up, tell him what's going on. We watched it try to eat for a few hours. Then the sun started to come up. I guess it doesn't enjoy sunlight too much because it fucked off. Me and Fuckstick just bolted out to our car and got the hell out of there. The whole 4-hour drive back, we said without a word. My dad thought we were idiots after we told him. It's been 2 years and he's gone up there a lot more than I have. He's putting it up for sale this summer. Be me, 16 years old, on my great-great-aunt's ranch, helping with farm work for this summer. Middle of the night, cows begin losing their minds. Go to check it out with brother and 3 farm dogs, assuming it's probably coyotes. Find a deer being the reason for the terror of the cows. See a mass in front of deer. It's a coyote, limp and matted with blood. Deer turns around. It's not a deer. It's a human face covered in blood. Nope the fuck out of there. Run home as a deer/human runs the opposite direction. Stay up all night. I live near Pennsylvania, mountainous wilderness. and hiked up the nearest mountain over 100 times last summer. 2 instances stick out to me though. The first fuckery came about when I was walking to the top of the mountain and walked into a power line clearing at the top where you can see for miles. When I came back through the thin trail into the main forest trail connecting the clearing, I came across a cleaned animal bone. I looked and saw a full deer leg and either a joint bone or something as well. It was surreal. It looked clean perfectly, not a bit of flesh or redness to it. It was smack perfect in the middle of the small trail right at the edge of the woods where I would have seen it entering the clearing. I couldn't believe I didn't see the entire leg bone. I was feeling very, very on edge. I felt like I was being watched that time, but right then I felt it like never before. This internal uneasy feeling grew and grew as I looked back at the bone until I felt like it was upon me, and I looked around and let out a growl so loud and ferocious in my own panic it kinda sounded like a bear. Anyway, I buckled my belt to the 3rd hole and sprinted down the mountain path back home. I was walking so fast, I was practically running down the trail. I felt it still behind me. I kept looking back even as I'm walking fast. I walk, looking down most of the time on the trail to avoid getting my foot caught, which is why I was so surprised and in disbelief I didn't see this bone. I kept making my way down the hill till I heard something behind me, like footsteps. I whipped back and saw a man, average hiking looking man. I guess he came up behind me and I said, "Jesus Christ, where'd you come from?" Because I'd been making my way so fast and was a little on edge. I was startled, but it wasn't his response that unnerved me the most. For some reason he didn't say anything. That feeling that I was being followed/watched, it stayed with him. As I stood there, I watched him pass me and make his way down the mountain, almost like he was gliding. He just said "up there" in the most haunting way possible and glid down from the mountain in front of me. I sort of just paused there for a bit, but felt a sort of relief as the feeling of being watched/followed went away with him. I eventually walked home normally, but never saw him again. So, what do you think? Was it my senses playing tricks on me and detecting a fellow fast hiker who potentially heard my roar and was hiking fast also? Or was it a skinwalker showing off a kill and chasing me, letting me know he's top dog in the woods? The second instance was at the end of the hike. I was actually at the bottom of the trail and almost out to the connecting trail home. I too this time felt like I was being watched and kept looking behind me for some reason. There wasn't very many people in the woods on this day, but I heard what sounded distinctly like a man clearing his throat right behind me, directly behind my head. I heard this sound and it spooked me. I whipped around and of course saw nobody. I then ran as fast as I could to the connecting trail home because my senses all lit up at once like a fire. I hadn't run for my life in such a blind fear like that in a while, and truth be told, I don't know why that did spook me so much, but maybe it was a homeless man in the woods beside me, but I really don't think so. It was directly behind my head and very, very weird. I saw the father with his children up ahead and almost wanted to warn him to be careful up ahead, but felt like that would be too strange and didn't. Not enough in the woods stories, so here, I'll post mine. Love you T6. Be 16-year-old. Visit grandparents in a very rural area frequently. Go for night walks in the woods. Take cousins with me one night. Moon is very bright. Leave flashlight at home for more spooks. Decide to try a new trail we've never walked before. Get lost of course. Roam around for hours trying to go the direction we came from. Fail miserably. Deep forest. Way darker than the part we came from. Smells like something died nearby. Smell comes from the very direction we're heading. Decide to still go there because we're convinced it's the general direction of our village. Come to small overgrown field with old, clearly abandoned house. These are pretty common in the area. Stop and try to get signal or check maps. No luck. Give up on saving battery and turn on phone flashlight. Go towards the cabin, hoping to find a landline phone. Obviously, it would be disconnected, but we were desperate. That animal smell is clearly coming from the house. There's some faint, wettish sounds coming from inside the house. Would never hear it if not for the fact that the forest was completely quiet. Stop in the doorway, whispering to my cousin that we should probably leave. Don't be a pussy, Anon. Fuck you, I'm going, .jpg. First room is totally ruined. Someone must have searched it for valuables. Smell is pretty much unbearable, so go around the room as quickly as possible. No phone of course. Go to the other room. Cousin right behind me. I shine the shitty phone flashlight into the room. It takes us a good few seconds to register what we're seeing. There's a badly decomposed carcass on the ground. Can't really tell what animal it is. 3 deer are standing over it. They lift their head in unison. Their mouths are covered with brown, decomposing blood. There's some kind of tissue hanging from one's mouth. One of these fuckers turns around towards us and stands on its hind legs perfectly upright. Fight or flight kicks in. I book it out of the cabin after my cousin. Turn around. One of the deer is standing, yes, standing on 2 legs on the porch with tissue or whatever poor critter it was eating still hanging out of its mouth. Cry and shit my pants a little. We run in a completely random direction, tripping over fallen trees and getting slapped in the face by bushes. Cousin runs face first into a huge spider web. He's terrified of spiders. Stops and starts yelling he can feel it under his shirt. I tell him to shut the fuck up. He does, sobbing slightly. We hear a faint sound of twigs breaking behind us. I shine phone flashlight into brush. 3 pairs of eyes, reflecting light in the distance. Run, cousin Anon, run. We keep getting fucked up by the bushes. Whatever spider was under his shirt has surely fallen out or died from all the twig slaps we endured, but he keeps sobbing. After what felt like a marathon, we run out onto a dirt road, followed until we see houses. See street sign pointing to our village. We're saved, Anon. Walk back to the village in complete silence. By the time we arrive, the sun is up. Cousin only speaks up as we step on the porch. Anon, did you see what those deer were eating? A decomposing animal. Why? There were scraps of clothing on the body. My face when deer ate a dead guy.